Hey, you know Pac-Man? Well, Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. They changed it because, not because Pac-Man looks like a hockey puck. Paku Paku means flap your mouth, and they were worried people would scratch out the P, turn it into an F, like, heh. But in the time before Pac-Man, nay Puck-Man, video games were largely an activity for rough and tumble young men who loved frequenting arcades where they could smoke and drink while taking out their testosterone-fueled aggression on shoot-em-ups and bang-bangs. That all changed when Toru Iwatani asked, what if we made a video game that wasn't about murdering? Iwatani's answer to that question came in the form of Pac-Man, a non-violent yellow circle with a mouth that was designed specifically to appeal to women. He was cute and he loved to eat, and as we all know, women be eaten. The game hit arcades in 1980 after nearly a year and a half of development, an unprecedented amount of time to spend on one video game back in the day. Thanks to its unique gameplay and broad appeal, Pac-Man became a huge success. The people fell in love with its fast-paced, score-chasing action, inspiring sequels, spin-offs, adaptations, merch, and novelty songs that would endure for decades to come. On today's show, we step into the arcade, grab our joysticks, and exclaim, I've got a fever, and the only prescription is more Pac-Man! It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with two annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda. From adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. Bad with games. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are Bad with Games. We sure are. And this week, we're talking about the one, the only, the Pac-Man. The original Pac-Man released in arcades in 1980. We're going back in time.
We're actually doing the arcade this time. We skipped the arcade for Tetris, but now we're doing the arcade.
You got to stop harping on this. Nobody gives a shit about the arcade version of Tetris. It's a novelty, a side note at best.
It's just exciting because we're on a new system, so to speak.
Right. We're on a new system, the arcade.
Drag in the cabinet and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We take this very seriously. Each of us ordered separately on eBay. We purchased original Pac-Man cabinets.
Yeah, they'll believe that.
Those can run from I don't know $1,000 to $5,000 probably. That's just a total guess. I wonder how much they actually cost.
That's a very good question. Like,
there are like a shit ton of them. I think they're, but like they made so many. I don't think they're like. I think you can get them. I mean, I'm sure they're still expensive, but that also probably the market also was maybe affected because it's so easy to emulate Pac-Man even on. Now people will get like an arcade cabinet, but they'll put a chip in it so they can play any arcade game ever. And so probably the popularity of those means that an actual Pac-Man cabinet is not as sought after.
That tech's got to be at least like 15, 20 years old though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, I don't know. Like I guess at this point I'm just thinking like if they're selling for stuff, it's a collector thing. So it really comes down to are there whales who give a shit about this, and how many Pac-Mans did they make?
Now I have to know.
I was gonna say this isn't really what we're here to talk about.
I have to know. Oh no. Oh yeah, I think, is this real? Oh wow, is this a real one? I don't know if this is an orig.
An orig.
There is one here on eBay that is being offered for $215.
Damn. Okay.
Wait,
Well,
wait,
that's
wait a
not 1 to
minute.
5K.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
Oh,
minute.
okay. Oh,
Fucking eBay scam. I swear to God. I mean, it's written in the title, but the perspective on this photo is a trick. It's like a miniature. It's like a toy. It's not a full-sized cabinet.
this is like I'm only selling the box. Don't think I'm selling what's in the box. I'm
Oh,
only selling the box.
okay, but here's a full-size Pac-Man cabinet that's going for around 700. So it's probably $1,000 or less, depending on condition or how old it
Okay.
is and stuff.
Okay.
I'm glad we
There's probably a
figured
lot
this
of
out.
Pac-Mans.
People love this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's they made 1 billion of them, so I don't think they're that hard to get. Anyway, we're talking about that today. We're talking about Pac-Man. I want to say this right off the bat. For anyone watching the video version of this episode on YouTube, you don't have to. Like, I think if you watch this for 5 minutes, that's pretty much what it's going to be the whole episode. So you're probably good if you just want to listen to the audio this week. You're going to see a lot of repetition.
Listen, you're not a YouTube video guy, but if you're watching something like this, you're not watching it, right? Like the point is that you look at the screen every like 5 minutes. So like if you're bored, there's Pac-Man going on.
Well, then you're going to love
now,
this.
people are playing it.
Yeah, we are playing Pac-Man. We're sort of the Pac-Men. We could have called our show the Pac-Men.
Oh.
Do you think there's a dedicated Pac-Man podcast called Pac-Men and they cover all Pac-Man?
There should be. I wonder if the dedicated Pac-Man podcasts were just like, no, that's too obvious. We can't be the first one to do that. There's no way. Someone must have done it, and it's just remained a blind spot.
There's a lot of ways you could go with that. You could do Podman. You could do Pac-Pod. Pac-Man podcast.
2 packs in a pod.
Anyway, this week, if anyone doesn't know, I've played games. Will hasn't. I don't want to forget this week to start with the cover art. However, Pac-Man doesn't really have cover art because it's an arcade game that didn't come in a box. So the best that we have is like the art that was on the arcade cabinet itself. I don't know if you want to take a minute to look at that.
I guess I'm looking at that right now. I'm not sure if this is that art or not.
I'm looking at like there's a Pac-Man with a ghost and it's like yellow background and Pac-Man's looking up with big eyes and looking kind of mischievous, and this ghost is real angry, like he wants to eat him.
And this Pac-Man doesn't look like anything like Pac-Man, like any iteration of Pac-Man I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And there's Tetris pieces surrounding them for some reason.
Yeah, right. Well, I think that's supposed to be the like the walls of the maze.
Right. Okay.
This is a common thing with arcade games and older games, sometimes for home consoles too, where they'd have art on the box or whatever that doesn't really resemble the game because they just couldn't. Either they couldn't recreate the art they wanted in the game because it's just so primitive, or the people who were drawing the art didn't really communicate with the people making the game. They just kind of went off a vibe. Yeah, this Pac-Man, like, he has big feet.
Yeah, and he's not like a circle, right?
No.
He's like a bulb, right?
You know
like
what?
His head is round, but he doesn't. You know what I mean? Like he's just a round little guy with some feet. He's not like a circle with like feet sticking out of him or arms sticking out of him. Like this is like, modern Pac-Man, they kind of took it for granted that like, of course Pac-Man is supposed to look like what he looks like in the game. He's a circle with a big mouth. But here it kind of feels like the artist, it's like, well, he only looks like a circle with a big mouth because we can't do graphics, right? Because this is an arcade cabinet. He probably looks more like this, right?
This Dr. Seuss-esque kind of little guy. Kind of reminds me of Minion Bob in a way.
Does he now?
It does occur to me that I said those are 2 feet, but now I'm looking at him and I'm thinking maybe he has 2 dicks.
He does look a little phallic. Maybe those are like deflated balls, and he's a very bulbous, kind of thick chode, you know? Like that would work. Like that kind of
Yeah.
fits what's going on shape-wise with him.
It would explain why this ghost looks so eager to put him in his mouth.
I mean, it would also explain why they were so worried about that graffiti, right? Like you just look at this and
Right.
there's only one thing I'm thinking when I'm looking at this.
I'm thinking
Got
a
those
couple things.
mischievous eyes, that little smirk.
Oh yeah, those big eyes looking up at you.
I'm that ghost. I'm all over him. I'm like flying out, mouth wide, eyes open.
Can't lose. Why are the eyes red? It makes it very unsettling, in fact. Usually if someone has red eyes, that implies a demonic nature.
I mean, I was gonna say maybe it's because of the smirk and because the eyes are also gigantic. It kind of reminds me of those like stoner comics, right? Where it's like stick figures and they give them giant red eyes.
Dude, Pac-Man's high as fuck. Yo, what's in those pellets, man? Little
Taco Bell.
weed gummies. Yeah. Anyway, by the way, it's 7:20 today. Smoke up. Anyway, pretty good side art. It does make you go, huh? What's this? Well, we're going to talk about why it's kind of special. I guess I could just segue into it now because
Sure.
this, Pac-Man really is the original video game mascot. Up until this point, no one really gave a shit about any character in video games. Like, there was a space invader, but it didn't have a name. It wasn't a being. You didn't play as the guy John Blopper who hated aliens. It was just you. It was just you're playing a game, deal with it. This is one of the first time, maybe the first time ever, quote me on that if you want. Fuck it, it is. First time that anyone ever really attempted to make a character people could, I don't know if identify with is too strong to say, but someone you would want to buy a t-shirt of and be like, oh, that's Pac-Man, as opposed to just, you're in a tank or whatever. This guy paved the way for Mario, for Donkey Kong, for any of these mascots, particularly I think the cuter ones that would kind of dominate the 90s a decade later. This was a big deal. Also, specifically Pac-Man, part of the idea behind the design was that the whole game was meant to appeal to women, because at this time, video games were largely male-dominated, unlike today. And so they were like, hey, Pac-Man's cute. And my favorite detail of the story is the creator of Pac-Man researched hobbies that women have that he could maybe add into the game so that women would want to play it. And what he came up with was, well, women love eating cakes and other desserts, so I'm going to make him eat everything.
That sounds like a joke. That does not sound real.
It is 100% true. It is not a joke.
The thing is, though, like, I do believe, like, you say, like, okay, weird Japanese shut-in nerd who is way too focused on video games and has never spoken to a woman. I'm going to research what do women like. They like cakes. I do like that, but it feels so, like, on the nose as, like, a ridiculous caricature. It's pretty good. Yeah, Pac-Man, famously beloved by women. Is that true?
Well, it did at work. Like, truly, the game had a much higher female fan base for the time than pretty much any other arcade game. So, like, he nailed it. He did get it right. But like, think about it again. At that time, if you walked into an arcade in 1980, 95% of these machines are like dudes with guns or shooting aliens or lasers or tanks or maybe a race car in one or two of them. It was all about just, shooting
Mhm.
stuff and killing stuff.
Yeah. And
And
as gender essentialists, we know that women don't like that.
women don't like that the way we guys do. For us dudes, that gets us fired up.
Mhm.
Just thinking about it, man. I can't even tell you what effect it's having on my body because I'm trying to keep our PG rating.
Right. Of course.
Let's just say it might resemble Pac-Man's two dongs.
You're growing a second one? That's how excited you're getting here?
That doesn't that happen to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's like a hot babe, that's like sex. But like guns and shooting and violence, that's like sex 2.0. I got two of them for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, here comes number 2. Whoa! Ouch! Oh, it hurts. Hurts sometimes.
I don't know that I needed to hear that part. I guess I did ask for it, though.
Everyone listening can relate to what I'm saying. So he nailed it. Also, it's kind of hilarious that in his quest to design a character to appeal to women, half of its name is the word man. Like, it never once occurred to him, what if it was not a male character? Like, we
Was
can't
that
go
the
crazy.
original Japanese name had a man in it as well, or?
Yeah, it was Pac-Man.
Okay.
It was always a man. So I don't know what to tell you. Now,
well,
of course,
I mean, but that's not.
Yeah.
But it was the English word man, right? So like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it might just be like, yeah, because it's like a thing, like a robot, a Mega Man type thing, except Mega Man I guess wouldn't have existed. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's a foreign word, so it doesn't necessarily occur to him, right? That it's like, oh yeah,
Maybe.
but that excludes I mean, if you were even the slightest bit fluent, it would occur to you, but it's not immediately clear to me that you're not just borrowing that as like a naming convention and not thinking about it at all. Like if I were working in a foreign language, I might do that.
You could be right. Predates the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
They went
It
backwards.
is interesting hearing about all this because like I do see it. Right, when I think Pac-Man, I do think arcade cabinets, and I still think, okay, it's just basically overwhelmingly dudes, right? And I'm sure that was probably the case. Um, if you told me that the demographic shift went from like 0.01% women to like 2% women because of Pac-Man, and that's just unbelievable. Like we increased, multi-hundredfold. I'd be like, sure, I could believe that. It's hard for me to imagine women at the time like flocking out, and I think also the fact that it's a physical arcade probably hurts that to some degree, because like there's a big difference between getting into a male dominated hobby in your own home and being like, oh, I'm gonna go out to this space. Oh, it's all a bunch of dudes being like weird and obnoxious and whatever, and I like literally cannot play this game without having to deal with them. You know what I mean?
Well, recall this was 1980, so I think you just described every public space. Like, I don't think they had a choice if they wanted to exist.
No, but like there's a difference between a standard public space where, women did go out in public in 1980, right? And like an
Weird.
extremely male dominated space where it's like, okay, I want to break into that and, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do think, this was a time when arcades actually were popular. Malls were huge, or like were just starting to become huge, I guess, maybe in 1980. So I think it was more likely probably for women to, at the very least, be in the vicinity of an arcade and
Okay.
like be able to, it's not like now where you really have to seek them out. They were much more accessible then.
Yeah, I guess what I'm just trying to figure out is like you said it worked, right? And this did bring in significant contingent of female gamers, gamer girls as we call them. But in my mind, I wouldn't have guessed that, and I've never heard anything to that. So I'm just wondering, like, what does that mean, right? Like, what does that mean? Like, how successful was it? By what metric? Where are we getting that?
Well, Wikipedia says, uh,
Hmm.
according to an employee of Midway who produced the game, that it was Pac-Man was, quote, the first commercial video game to involve large numbers of women as players.
Large numbers. Okay, that's what we
So,
got.
look, did I look up specific stats for this? No, but I believe it. I think it's true.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got
No,
no
I mean,
reason
I'm
to
just
disbelieve it.
I mean, I guess I don't care as much about the numbers. It's just like in my head, I have this stereotype, right? I don't fucking know what it was like in an arcade in the '80s, but I have this picture, and it's a bunch of like annoying Gen X nerds who suck, and they're all dudes.
I
And
think,
so, like in
yeah.
my head, I'm trying to adapt this picture for large numbers of women. What's a large number? I don't know. Like, is it just rolling in women? That the like the Pac-Man table is just you can't play it if you're a dude because the line is out the door with women, or is there like one woman in the building when there normally wouldn't have been, or is it maybe somewhere in between? I don't know.
I don't know, but I also remember this is probably skewing much younger than maybe you're imagining. It's probably mostly like kids ages like 10 to 18 are in these
Oh yeah,
arcades.
no, that's what I'm imagining. It's just like a 10 to 18-year-old Gen Xer is not a 10 to 18-year-old
Mm,
millennial.
that is true. I mean, I can't say that's not true. Anyway, things were different then. They opened up the floor. They said,
Hmm.
women, come in here. We want you to play Pac-Man because he's so cute.
Yeah, and even outside of that, I do think there is something to that, right? Like something being like kind of cute, I think has a more universal appeal, right? Like even among dudes, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna be a soldier and I'm gonna shoot everything and I'm gonna do spacecraft and blow up everything. Like, I think that appeals to a very specific niche. But like, if you have, oh, look at the cute ghosts and the cute Pac-Man, that is more generically like guys are gonna like that too. As long as you don't go out of your way to be like, I definitely want to make sure that you know that this cuteness is feminine coded so that, people be like, ew, I'm not gay. If you can avoid that kind of thing, I don't know. I feel like there's a reason why, as you said, like all the '90s characters are like this. It's because I think it's a more universal appeal.
Yeah, and you can market it to kids,
Sure.
which is a huge market, obviously. Also, just in general, it didn't look like anything else in the arcade at the time. It stood out
Hmm.
with this bright yellow color, a cute character, and in terms of the gameplay too, which eventually we'll discuss. I think we'll see if we have time. It's this wasn't a genre anyone was familiar with. This was a brand new kind of concept that you couldn't get on any of the other machines, really. So it
That's
stands out in a lot of
true.
ways.
Pac-Man is a lot about, I guess, positioning yourself and avoiding things and moving through a maze. Like, what is that? Like Snake or whatever it's called, right?
Sort of. Yeah, or Centipede. But I think those
Cent-
were later.
okay, okay. Because I was gonna say, like,
Maybe I'm not
how
sure. Don't
how
quote me on
new?
that.
What you said this is like a new genre, and I was starting to think, what is Pac-Man's genre,
It's a
and
great
like, how
question.
new was it?
Yeah, it is. It is a great question. And yes, Centipede was 1981. So yes, this does
That's what I was
predate it.
thinking when I said Snake, but
Well, I get it. Snake. They're two different games. They are both.
okay.
Yeah, they're the same kind of genre. I mean, I think Snake is just a ripoff of Centipede, essentially. Except, yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. What genre this is kind of it's just sort of its own thing. Like it became a genre of arcade games. There were knockoffs. There were inspired games that were you might call maze. On Wikipedia, literally the genre is listed as maze.
Hmm.
But that genre didn't really survive past the arcades. It kind of lived and died in the 80s. So Yeah, it was very much its own special little thing. Of course, now that I'm looking here, there are some other games they categorize as maze games that came out pre 1980, but no one's ever heard of these games or gave a
Mhm.
shit about them because they didn't have a
It's
cute yellow guy.
That's right. And it's interesting because that is a very, a lot of genres, if you have like a shooter genre, right? That's not necessarily exclusive to video games, right? Yeah, okay, you're controlling the guy in Space Invaders who blows up all the aliens, but like you've seen the action, serial where, Flash Gordon goes up and blows up a bunch of aliens or something. Like you've seen this before. It's similar even though you're playing the guy. This is a very this is not a genre that easily translates outside of video games, is it? It's certainly not like solving a maze, right? Like solving a maze is nothing like playing Pac-Man because it's solved. That's not the point. That's not the problem. It's almost like some combination of like tag or scavenger hunt or hide and seek in like a hedge maze or something. It's interesting.
Hmm.
Um there aren't a lot of analogs to it. I'm trying to think like how unique is this idea? If I'm sitting down and creating Pac-Man for the first time, how hard is it to come up with this?
I could do it easy.
Right.
You
Yeah,
just
of
go,
course.
oh, Pac Man, just do that. Well,
Yeah,
now, yeah, there's something I was gonna save this until the end, but since we're talking about the genre now, I'll bring it up
mhm.
now. There is, I don't know who first introduced this idea. It's something I've just seen thrown about here and there online for several years now. Probably I don't know how old it is. People have been saying it for a while, but I wonder how this grabs you.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
Some people argue that Pac-Man could be considered a progenitor of the survival horror genre. So bear with me for a second here.
No, I see where you're about to go.
Yeah,
It
you,
seems like a huge stretch, but I don't think it's wrong. Please go there so that we can enlighten my
yeah,
listeners who haven't quite figured it out.
idiots. There are, yeah, you are of course trying to avoid ghosts, monsters that are kill you if they touch you.
Mhm.
Um, you have resource scarcity in that, whereas in say Resident Evil, you're trying to preserve your bullets for your gun and you only have so many and you have to choose when and where to use them. Here in Pac-Man, you have the power pellets, the energizers, I believe is their official name in this version of the game. Um, and when you get them, then you can fight back against the ghosts, but you only have so many. So you have to be on the lookout for them. And of course, you're going around corners, know when the things chasing you are going to get you next. It does, it isn't not in that genre from a certain perspective.
Yeah, no, I see that in a very broad sense. Uh like progenitor seems strong because it seems to imply that like this is
Perhaps.
what like directly led to that as opposed to but I feel like there is something to the idea of you've got non-video games. Again, hide and seek or tag, right? I'm trying to survive. There's a bunch of people trying to get me. I'm in an environment. And there's something very specific to like video games and like their iteration on that kind of thing where you've got this like very constrained map. There's like enemy AI, so it can be, they can be like weird monsters or do crazy stuff. As you said, resource scarcity is I think like a very obvious idea. I think a lot of these things are like they're a kind of idea that's going to come together when you start making video games and like in a modern sense when you can do all of this realism and you want to then map it back onto the real world you get survival horror, but in an early game you just get something very abstract like Pac-Man. But it does I see where you're coming from in the idea that like this does feel like it's all kind of part of the same like very very general idea.
Yeah. And it is, it's a little scary. Like when you're playing it, maybe scary is not the right word, but it's tense.
Yeah,
You're,
no,
you're sweating a little.
Yeah, no, I see it. Like there is that feeling like, uh-oh, they're all after me. I have to get to the power pellet energizer thing so I can eat them or else I'm going to get screwed. Uh-oh, are they going to cut me off? Oh no, I got to get around here. And there is also that feeling of defeat where you realize there's no getting out because they've like surrounded you in a corner and you're just like, "Oh,
Hmm.
oh." And like I think that a lot of those feelings, right? The feeling of playing the character in that situation are probably pretty similar to survival horror, even if you're not like sitting there like, oh no, a gross, scary, awful monster, you know?
Yeah, I bet if you hooked up some devices to two people playing, one playing Pac-Man, one playing Resident Evil, their heart rates and brainwave patterns might be similar.
Mm.
Someone should pay me to do this study. There's a lot of merit to it.
A lot of things someone should pay me to do.
Amen to that. Okay. Let's talk about the game itself. Also sorry, I do want to give one quick correction. I said before his original Japanese name was Puckman. That's not accurate. That is still the anglicized version of it. It was Pac-Man. So I am not 100% sure. The man part of it maybe wasn't actually supposed to be a man. I don't know enough about Japanese language to know how they put that together. Paku, I know it came from the whole thing is that it's the paku paku sound, which is like refers to eating something in Japan.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I don't know enough to know that that doesn't mean something else. But I also do know that Japan loves their English loan words and they love their like standardized construction. So like, it wouldn't shock me for them to be like, yeah, there's like Superman and like Batman and like whatever. So we'll just call this guy Pakuman because that's what it is.
Right.
That wouldn't shock me at all. But maybe I'm completely wrong.
I have always loved that Pac-Man sounds so much like both Pokemon and Pikmin. There's like something about that.
This is the real video game progenitor there.
Right, yes, the progenitor of Pac-Man-esque names.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask you this.
That's why Pikachu's yellow. Anyway.
That's why he's yellow. Holy shit. You're not wrong at all. I'm not going to ask you this question every episode of this show, but especially for some of these early games, it does seem relevant, or I feel like it's more likely that the answer might be yes. So I will ask you again. Have you ever played Pac-Man before this week?
I think this is a relevant question with most games, even if not, have you played
some
it? But
games,
have I heard of it? Have I watched it? What's my experience?
Sure.
Yeah. So the answer to have I played Pac-Man before is I technically have. And more than you might think.
Wow.
So when I was a child, like kid child, not older than like 12 or something, maybe 13 at most, my dentist had an arcade section, like in the waiting room.
Uh-oh.
And there was a free Pac-Man machine. Like, you didn't have to put quarters in or anything. So I had played some games of Pac-Man on an actual arcade cabinet when I was, like, waiting for the dentist as a child.
Wow. And then was he like, I got some more arcade cabinets over here in this closet. Come on in. Did he ever say that to you?
What is it about dentists that makes you go there?
Just asking if he ever did that. You don't have to read into it whenever you're reading into it. I'm just wondering, did he have like cooler games somewhere else? And is he still practicing? Because maybe I want to check him out. Anyway.
So yes, I have played Pac-Man on an arcade cabinet, forever decades ago. And, there's a non-zero chance that I've played some kind of Pac-Man or Pac-Man clone since then, right? It's a pretty common thing to just, like, make. I mean, there is. Actually, yes, I did. I played what was very close to being a Pac-Man clone for our last podcast.
That's right, which, of course, was Animorphs the Yerk Pool.
Right.
a Flash or maybe not even Flash, like a JavaScript or Shockwave game or something from internet history.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe the
like
most
pre-Flash
famous.
90s download it.
Yeah, pretty good. That was a pretty good one. I think we loved that one.
I think that's probably right. I don't think I got upset at that one.
I, of course, have played Pac-Man. I mean, anytime, we sort of missed the era of arcades, the height of their popularity, but still a lot of times a hotel or a restaurant, a bowling alley, a lot of times they'll just have a Pac-Man machine somewhere because it's just
Mhm.
so ubiquitous. And so I've played plenty of those. I'm sure that right now I probably have 5 or 6 different Pac-Man games in my home that have a Pac-Man arcade game you can play in them. Because that's just what, anytime there's a new Pac-Man game, they're like, yeah, and the arcade game's in there too. Have fun. I used to have there was a time, they probably still make them, where they had a little joystick that you could just hook up to your TV and it had like 5 or 6 games on it. And I had a Namco one that had Pac-Man, so I thought that was pretty cool to have like a real joystick in my hands and play Pac-Man on my TV. Pretty fun. And for some reason, my dad, who is not a video game player in any regard, this was the one game that if we were at an arcade, or not even at an arcade, but like I said, just there happened to be a machine somewhere and I was with him, like he would have an interest in playing Pac-Man. This must have been the one game he played as a teenager, and so it's like the one thing he knows and has nostalgia for. And so I have memories of playing Pac-Man with my pap, as I call
That's
him.
nice. Yeah,
Isn't that nice?
it is nice.
Whereas you have memories of your weird dad buying racing games for the N64 or whatever. My dad's a cool Pac-Man dad.
Yeah, or like playing Myst on his computer or whatever.
Now that is pretty cool. That I like. So, this was an interesting experience for me, but we'll start with you, I think, as that's usually what makes the most sense for
Sure.
our use case. What was it like? How'd you feel playing the old Pac?
Yeah, so I will say I don't think that I am any better at this game now than I was when I was like 10. It might be worse.
Well, you didn't have that good dentist gas
Right.
in you.
Well now I'm old and slow, so my reaction time has dwindled, I'm past my peak. Um
That's for sure.
yeah, so I'm not very good at Pac-Man. Those of you who've been watching the footage can attest to this.
Well, let's start here.
Yes.
Do you feel that you're any better at Pac-Man than you were at Mario or Tetris? Because
No.
I was going to say, I do feel like there is. I mean, there's certainly parts of Pac-Man that present challenges, but maybe there is at least one advantage in that there's not as much agency in a way, in that with Mario especially, you can jump and move in only 2 dimensions, but pretty much wherever you want, whatever speed you want. It's kind of like up to you. So there's more room for error. Whereas with Pac-Man, yes, you can change direction anytime you want and you can move in any direction, but the paths are predetermined for you. So I feel like there's not as much. All you need to do, and even less than, Tetris had, you got to press buttons to rotate them. Pac-Man
Mhm.
really is, there's 4 directions you can move. That's all you need to focus on. So, like, did
Mhm.
that give you any level of confidence whatsoever?
Maybe confidence at first. The problem is, I'm still not very good at, as simple as it is, I'm still not very good at controlling it. So, and because it's so restricted, you almost end up in this position where you're like, so let's say that I accidentally hit up instead of right. Um, well, that's now I'm just going that way, right? That's the way I'm going, right? It's because like the ghosts are going to cut me off. It's too late to take the path I was planning to take, right? Because now I'm just doing this. With something like Tetris, if I rotated the piece the wrong way, then I can be like, oh shit, I got to rotate it a couple more times, right? Or something
Hmm.
like this. Um, but with this, it's kind of like, okay, if I just make a mistake, I have to completely redo my plans around the mistake immediately. Like there's no just like, oh shit, hit a different button kind of thing to get me out of it. And I will say, like, again, I don't think there's a single game in which I didn't accidentally hit the wrong arrow key to move the wrong direction at least once. I
Good
like
Lord.
all the time I was just like, oops, I missed that turn. I like hit too early or too late and didn't take the turn I want, or like I actively just hit right when I meant left or something. Like it's pretty bad. I'm pretty not good at controlling video games, I gotta say.
Well, first of all, I think we should take a minute we should, in case anyone doesn't know, let me explain the premise of Pac-Man.
Sure.
You're a little yellow guy named Pac-Man, and you go around a maze and you eat dots.
Hmm.
And your goal is to clear all the dots in the maze. And when you've cleared them all, you go to the next level. And then there's also ghosts. If you touch a ghost, you die. But if you get one of the energizers, there's 4 of them in each corner, 1 in each corner. Then there's a brief period of time where you can eat the ghosts and get points. And that's pretty much it. There's really nothing more
Hmm.
to it than that. I mean, there's some more in terms of like strategy and stuff, but that's the premise. About as simple as it gets. Now, I will admit, let's be honest with the folks. We didn't buy
Hmm.
arcade cabinets. Sorry to disappoint you. Sorry to break your hearts. We both, although both of us have experience with the arcade cabinet, and I've, like I said, played many versions of Pac-Man over the years. This week, we were using just arrow keys on a keyboard. It's pretty
Hmm.
simple. Do you think, I wonder if it's actually harder, at least for you, to do the arrow keys than it would be to use an actual joystick, which is maybe a little more intuitive, more instinctive of like push forward means up. It's harder to make mistakes.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that from when I was a kid, and I feel like there's a little bit of both because, I'm a lot more likely to be like, oh shit, I got to change directions and just hit a key and it's the wrong key, then I think that wouldn't happen with a joystick. But with the joystick, like it takes longer to make each movement, so my reaction time's got to be better. You know what I mean? Like I can't necessarily go up, like just the movement of up on a joystick takes longer than press the up key, right? Even from a neutral position.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
um but it's kind of hard to remember because I'm trying, like, first of all, that was forever ago, but also my hands were smaller, so motions were bigger, so I don't know.
I think we might have to find a third party a joystick you can hook up to your computer for arcade games. We might need, like, for Pac-Man. It's so simple. I thought just arrows. It's pretty easy to replicate that. I don't think it really makes a big difference. There might be some games where we want that joystick feel to really be able to talk about it. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that could be a thing. On the other hand, if I'm consistently using arrow keys for, like, Game Boy games and arcade games and computer games, then maybe I won't have as many physical motions to learn, and it'll be easier.
Sure, but part of being a true gamer is mastering all forms of control.
Yes, but like that's like saying part of being a true athlete is mastering all forms of movement to a toddler. Like first you got to walk.
All right. Fair enough, I suppose. I'm here. So, like I said, I played Pac-Man many times. I'm not going to say that I'm good at Pac-Man. I kind of thought going into this that I knew everything there was to know about Pac-Man. Right?
Mhm.
Similar to how I felt about Tetris, I kind of thought, I could scrape by not playing this game this week. Like, I have enough experience. It's Pac-Man. There's not much to it. I could talk about it.
Mhm.
And what I learned over the course of this week's journey was that there is a little more to it than I understood. So I started out just playing how I would normally play, just seeing how I did, being like, yep, it sure is Pac-Man, all right. I do recall
Mhm.
that this game is what it is. And then I thought, what are the things that I don't know? Because I've never, in all my years of playing Pac-Man at an arcade or wherever, never have I once entertained the question of, is there something I'm missing? How do you be good at Pac-Man? It's just never
Mhm.
something I thought of, because it was just, I don't know. It's a game you play for 5 minutes and then you get bored and you go home and you have a GameCube or whatever.
Right, right.
So sitting down with it really and really immersing myself in it, what I did, so then I looked online to see what I could learn. I discovered there's something that I found online. I don't know where it was originally shared, but there's something called the Pac-Man dossier.
Uh,
Ri-
is this feels like maybe Pac-Man was on a secret island and we have like a little client list and maybe there's some things about him that maybe he's about to get canceled here.
I'm not going to say no, but I think, why are we so focused on that? Who cares? It's not important. What's important is this dossier was written by someone named Jamie Pittman. I don't know if this person like originated these ideas, but it was just a
Mhm.
place I found that had a lot of the strategies and information about the game collected. And what I learned was, well, the first thing that I never, truly never once in my life thought about ever
Mhm.
was the fact that there are 4 ghosts. Their names are, of course, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde.
Mhm.
That each one of these ghosts has
I
their
think those are their
own.
nicknames, but yeah.
I know. I think those are their names, and then the other things are their like descriptions or
No, I think their
nicknames.
names were what Shadow, Speedy, Bashful, and
No, I'm
Clyde,
pretty
and their nicknames
sure.
were that. I swear on the screen it put the because I had thought those were their names too, but I swear on the screen it said name and nickname over the other ones.
It is, according to the Pac-Man wiki,
Uh huh.
Blinky, it says, is nicknamed Shadow. So
I'm on the pacman.fandom/wiki, and it says character Shadow nickname Blinky.
do not question me. I am the games master.
All
His
right,
name is
well
Blinky.
you'll see some footage, and you can put it up, and I guess we'll find out which one of us is right.
I don't
And don't
care what
edit it.
I don't care what the arcade game says or which order it's in. They just shit this game out. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing back then. His
Mhm.
name is Blinky. No one's named Shadow. His name's Blinky.
Now I did, yeah. To be fair, I did know Inky, Pinky, Blinky, and Clyde, which for some, I think I always hear it in that order, which is not the order it's displayed
It's
as. So I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well, I
Um,
think it sounds better to start with the vowel. I think it feels
mm,
better in the mouth.
that's probably right. But yeah, I've never heard these other names. I had no idea that these other names even existed.
Okay, now I'm looking further down the page, and now it does list character as Shadow and nickname as Blinky. So there appears to be some discrepancy here. But I would be willing to bet that, for instance, in later iterations, that like a Pac-Man cartoon or something, they had just adopted Blinky or what as the official. Like they don't say, "Hey, look, here comes Shadow." I'm sure they
Yeah, they
refer to
get
him as Blinky.
sued by Sonic if they did that.
That's 100% what I was saying.
You were making a point about there being 4 ghosts.
Right, there's 4 ghosts. And the reason they have these names and nicknames that it matters in different colors is because each one has their own distinct pattern of behavior. Something that I don't know, I
Mhm.
wonder if you knew that or figured it out. I never thought about it ever once in my life until this
Oh,
week.
I noticed that very distinctly that none of that they moved differently, but I could not tell you how they moved. But
So,
I could tell like they don't move the same, and it's not even like they always tend to go to the same areas. Like they don't follow you the same as each other, but it's very difficult
mhm.
for me to pick up the exact difference between Inky, Pinky, and Blinky. Clyde is a stupid bumbling moron. Like that's I did pick up on that. Um Which sometimes is a problem because he's not where you expect him to be, and then you get cut off. But the others, they don't follow. I couldn't tell you how though. So maybe you can tell me.
I can. You know what? I don't want to. Let's move on. I will tell you. I'll actually change my mind. I'll tell you. Yeah, they all behave. They all have their. So there's two modes of movement that they have. One is their natural behavior that they lock into when they're trying to get you. And the other one is called scatter mode, which is how it starts. When you first start playing Pac-Man, they're just kind of going, there's like random points that they're headed towards, and they're not necessarily trying to get you. You have a little sort of a brief window. And I don't know exactly what the intervals are, but they will kind of switch between those two modes.
Is it an interval? Because I thought to me, it felt like maybe this was just my mind playing tricks on me, but it felt like if I got too close to them, they'd start following me. And if I got them following me, they'd probably stay following me unless I managed to get some distance or go through some turns. But maybe I was like, maybe they just randomly switch on to following me, and I tricked myself into thinking it was something I did to lose them or whatever.
So according to the Pac-Man dossier, they alternate between scatter and chase modes at predetermined intervals. Scatters happen 4 times per level, and then they will stay in chase mode indefinitely until the end. And the intervals change, like depending on which levels you're on. But in general, it's like when you start, they will scatter for 7 seconds, then chase for 20, and alternate. So there you go.
Interesting. They definitely chase you differently too.
Yeah,
like
so
they don't chase the same as each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's then the individual chasing thing. So Blinky, the red one, he is the most straightforward. He just goes to wherever you are. He just tries to catch you and follow you.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Pinky, I almost said her because I guess it's pink. I assumed it was a girl because I have gender biases.
Right.
But also the name Pinky. I mean, I guess there's Pinky in the brain, but
that's true.
I mean, why am I saying? Also, of course, the name Pinky is feminine. It's still just because it's the color pink.
I mean, Inky is turquoise, and I don't.
Oh, these names make no sense.
I was gonna say when I worked in an outdoor store, like there's a thing where they make women's like clothing or gear, and they're like, we don't want to make it pink because that's too feminine, and women will be like, ugh, why do they make everything pink? So we'll make it turquoise, and then fucking everything is turquoise. And it was very common for like a woman to come in and be like, I don't really care about the color, I just don't want it to be turquoise. And I'd be like, I got bad news for you. That's 70% of our stock. So maybe Inky is the woman.
This is the kind of insight you can only get on this podcast.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
I think Inky is more of a cyan.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably right.
So anyway, Pinky, the way Pinky moves, I find honestly sort of confusing. Pinky wants to go to whatever spot is 4 spaces in front of Pac-Man. So Pinky is also trying to chase you. It's similar to the red one, but it won't go directly behind you. There are times where if you go around a corner, it might go a different way to cut you off because it's locked into the spot that you're aiming towards. Okay.
Because I was gonna say it feels like Blinky, yeah, as you said, is very straightforward and never cuts you off. And I was gonna say Pinky does feel like it cuts you off occasionally, but sometimes just follows you. So that would make sense that it's 4 in front of you. So if you set it up, if you're just moving in a straight line, right, it's not doing anything weird. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and you can kind of, if you're smart about it, you can kind of maybe trick Pinky.
Yeah.
Whereas Blinky, you just have to run away and hope he doesn't catch up, pretty much.
Yeah, run away until the interval is over or hit the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Inky. These names, just Inky and Shadow, like should both be dark colors. Like I don't like that
Well,
Pinky is the only one that's actually relevant to what it looks like.
well, that's because Shadow, right, is the one that just follows you, right? It shadows you, and then Speedy, which is Pinky, like which is going ahead of you and might cut you off, right? Kind of like it's faster. And then I guess Inky is bashful.
Yes, sure. So I'm not
See.
gonna. I don't fully understand Inky, to be honest with you. Inky has
Mhm.
goes for a position calculated by both your position and Blinky's position. And
Okay.
I don't really know that I cannot articulate exactly how this works because I don't fully understand it myself. But for the sake of simplicity, I don't think it's this exactly, but it's something like it aims for the point between you and Blinky or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, because I was gonna say like while Blinky and Pinky are very likely to be following you directly, Inky is much more likely to be like kind of off in like a difficult spot so that like it's hard to run away from them without running into Inky. That's more likely to you're less likely to get directly caught, or at least I was less likely to get directly caught by Inky. I don't know exactly how
Mhm.
they program that, but
Yeah. And then Clyde has some weird complicated thing going on, but the long and short of it is that he just kind of roams around and just randomly does shit.
yes, yes, I did often learn, or like maybe not often. I often felt like I'd be like, oh shit, there's a ghost next to me, and then I register. Oh, it's Clyde. Okay, it's fine. He's not going to come for me. It doesn't matter. I can be near Clyde. Who cares?
Yeah, there is some logic to it, but
Hmm.
like whatever. I'm not gonna we're not gonna
Yeah.
make it explainable or understandable now.
Hmm.
So that's like the first thing that I discovered that I do think I started getting quote unquote better at the game, understanding that to some extent. However, most of the time it was more like, oh, I got killed by the red one, right? That's because that's how he works. It was something I would recognize after the fact, but as I was playing, it was too frantic and I was just too absorbed in the minute to minute gameplay that I wasn't normally able to use that to my advantage.
Yeah. No, I was more. Yeah, my strategy, so to speak, had nothing to do with that. Like I recognized that they were following me differently, but it was just more like, okay, I got to make sure I don't get directly caught. I got to make sure I put myself in a place where I'm not going to get cut off, and I got to react to
Mhm.
whatever's in front of me. I wasn't specifically trying to figure out what's the precise rule, but it did occur to me that they were behaving differently, and that if you knew the exact rules, you could probably move in such a way as to make it very difficult for them to catch you. But obviously, I was just like, yeah, that's not something I'm going to be doing, so I'm not going to worry about it.
So, what was your strategy? A game of Pac-Man starts. What's
Mhm.
your process?
So the first thing that I want to do is I want to get all of the dots out of the corners, because those are the places where I was most often getting trapped. Right? If I'm trying to get into a corner, I don't have a lot of escape exits. I don't have a lot of counterplay to, oops, I fucked up and there's guys all around me. So, like during the grace period, I want to get the outer corners um eaten if possible. And because I'm in the bottom and a lot of times they go to the top, I'm starting with those bottom corners. Uh you know, obviously if the ghosts get close to you, you're eating your power thing, but you're trying to save your power thing for a point where you're in trouble. Um and any point at which nobody's really near you or on you, and if there's some isolated dots that aren't near an uneaten power thing, like that's where you go and you get them while it's still safe. In your like grace period after you die, you try to like spend that time eating up all of the things that are not near anything, and that just makes it so that you have an easier time getting to the next level. That's basically my strategy, right?
Yeah. So when you say the corners, you don't mean necessarily where the energizers are. You mean like the full outside corners, or do you go for the energizers first too normally?
No, so I mean the full outside. I mean like the actual like L shape on the end of the corner, and maybe
Okay.
like the flat. The closer to the outside edge it is, the more I want to prioritize getting it while I have a safe window to do so, because that is where I like if there's guys coming at me, right, and I'm like, uh-oh, how am I going to get out of this? I'm the most stuck. So I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I ate all of the power pellets, and there's like, 6 dots I didn't eat, but they're over in the corner, and I'm gonna have to like kind of trap myself to get to them. That's not what I want to do, because I might end up dying.
Yeah. Yeah, you might.
Yeah, I might.
You might.
So that
You
was
might
my
not.
that was my strat. Didn't
I
always work.
generally I always start with the bottom first.
Yes.
Which I learned through my research, at least in the early levels. I think this may be changes. We'll get to it later on.
Hmm.
But generally speaking, I think this is always true. There are certain danger zones, so to speak, on the board that are very risky to stay in because there just aren't as many places to get out of trouble. Which I think is kind of what you were saying. And the bottom is like the biggest danger zone. Like those bottom 2 layers there's just all these straight lines, and if ghosts are coming from either side, both sides, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So that was always my first move. Even before I looked stuff up, I realized I was kind of doing that instinctively. I think you can just get a sense that that's a bad place to be.
Yes, but I didn't. I guess that is sort of true, but while I did try to get the bottom mostly done first, I would like prioritize some of the upper outer areas before completely finishing the bottom, right? Like if some of the like center of the map toward the bottom was still full, I wouldn't necessarily go for that. You know what I mean? But then I would also prioritize like, oh, if I already had to eat the pellet on this side of the map, if I have a safe interval, then I need to finish off that side of the map before, just so that I'm always kind of I never have to be away from those things when there's ghosts.
I think one of the things that makes this game so successful is there are always, as simple as it is, you're always making tough decisions very quickly. Namely, I mean, often the same decision, which is, I think, because the way that the maze is designed, there are so many places where you need to double back to get everything around corners. You can't just move in a straight line all around and clean it up. And so it's always the choice of, do I right now reverse and take a second to get those last 3 dots? Because if I do, that means that ghost that's over there is getting closer to me. But if I don't, then I gotta come back here later, and that might really bite me in the ass. And I'm 90% of the time, I think my sort of gamer completionist brain tells me I do not like looking at a spot that I didn't clear. I want to get through. If I'm doing the left corner, my brain really wants me to completely clear it out before I move on to the right corner. I don't always do it that way, but that's like my instinct.
Yes, I did find that my instinct was to like finish up what I was doing, or like, oh, I see a thing, I need to go for it. And I do think that I played slightly better when I learned to kind of just let go, and I was like, okay, like I want to get that, but now is not the time. I will have time. I need to make sure that I'm planning around having time later, but I'll be able to come back for it. Now is not the time. I will also say, again, it doesn't help if you're bad with the timing, because there were times where I would just be like, okay, I just want to get to the end of this line and then go back the way I came. And I'd be like, okay, I go to the end of this line, I go back the way I came. Oops, I missed one. So now what? Do I go back and then back again? Well, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Sucks when that happens. It feels bad. The other big decision point for me is whether you use those energizers. I feel like there's 2 ways to do it, which is aggressively or defensively. And basically, it depends on the position of the ghost at the time that you grab it, but you can either take it as this is when I'm going to go get those ghosts right now and clear them
Mhm.
out and get some points, or okay, while they're scattered, I know they're not looking for me, so this is my chance to clean up dots.
Yeah,
Um,
I was usually trying to go aggressive because there's a
mm,
lot of points to be like there's a lot more points to be had eating them than not eating them. So I was usually trying to be aggressive, but I wasn't great at catching the ghosts afterwards. Um so like I had to be really aggressive with it, but yes, like there were times where I got screwed because I was like, should I go for it now? I don't need to. Oops. Right. And so like
right.
I think it's important to have that middle ground of like, okay, I'm trying to be aggressive, but like you gotta sometimes you just gotta pull the trigger.
Yeah, that's another thing of the mentality of like having 99 potions in the last boss fight still,
Hmm.
where I'd always, I don't want to, I want to save that pellet for when I
Hmm.
really need it. Like if I can, I don't want
Yeah.
to, I'd almost rather leave them for last because
Yeah.
ideally I should have them for when I really need them.
But then sometimes you end up in this position where you're like, okay, I've cleared out the board and now I'm in top right and the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that's left is the pellet that I could have eaten in bottom left,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't. And now I got to get all the way over there without getting killed.
Yes, 100%. And also, what good does it do me? I can't eat any ghosts with it. It's
Yeah.
just, so that kind of sucks.
Well, I tried to time it out so that I could like if it was the last thing I ate, I could probably get like I could go right up to it, wait, eat like one or two ghosts, and then eat the other two dots next to it. But that didn't always
Right.
work out. I
Here's
tried
the
to do
other
all these things.
thing.
It sounds like
Yeah.
I'm playing really well because I'm talking about all these strategies. But if you're watching the footage, you know that this did not work out the way that I'm describing it.
The other thing is about eating the ghosts. Of course, they give you points when you eat them.
Hmm.
And also, every so often, fruit will appear in the middle, and that will give you points if you go for it. And as the levels go on, fruit is worth more and more points.
Hmm.
So another thing I never really understood, or for sure, is that you get an extra life at 10,000 points,
Hmm.
and that's great. And then as I was playing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to be smart about this. Instead of just trying to clear out the level and play it safe, I'm going to try to maybe take a couple risks. Sometimes I want to go for that fruit. I want to make sure I eat all those ghosts that I can so that I can get those points as fast as possible to get the extra lives. Then discovered you only get
Yeah.
it's not every 10,000 points. It's only the first 10,000 points. So 20,000, 30,000 doesn't matter. You got one. So this is kind of a criticism for me of this game, is that unless you are actually going for the high score, which is not really my thing, unless you're Billy
Hmm.
Mitchell and you're trying to set a Guinness record or whatever, Twin
Hmm.
Galaxies, which they've already set the maximum score, so don't why bother? Doesn't matter. Um, Once you get that first one up, there's really no incentive to go after fruit or ghosts if you don't have to. All it is unnecessary risk. And I found that really kind of takes some of the oomph out of the game at that point, because now you really are just repeating the same motions endlessly. If you assuming your goal is just as mine was, to get last as long as possible and not get a higher score.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say those are, I guess, two potential dueling goals. Like, is the goal to get to the highest stage you can, or is the goal to get the highest score you can? Right.
Mhm.
For me, I was like, I guess score seems more important because that's what's on a leaderboard, right? That's what's tracked. They track that score. They don't like I don't and it's not like the levels are different, right? Like, it's the
No.
same maze. So,
Yes.
yeah, like, what's the point in trying to get to the I guess I could see what the next fruit would be, right?
Well, I should say the layout is the same. Of course, the ghosts get faster, and the period in which they're vulnerable when you get a power pellet is
Yes.
shorter. So the game does get
Yes.
harder.
I did notice that, but, like, eh.
Oh, and I think you get faster as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I will say this was my primary uh, problem with this game is that, um, you know, with something like Tetris, because there are just so many different, like, it's so simple, the pieces, but because they're coming down in this random order, you're getting these, like, very different decision points every single time. And just the simple act of it being faster, like, really changes how things, like, go. So, like, getting to a new level, it's almost like every new set of pieces, every new line clear, you're seeing something new. And every new speed you really can, like, feel yourself being tested. Um and something like Mario, it's like, okay, I managed to clear this stage. Cool. I get to see a new world, right? I get to see a new background. I get to see what's here. But with this, it's kind of like, what what exactly is my, like, why am I with those games, I can do the thing where it's like, okay, I'm just going to spend 2 hours trying the same thing over and over and over again because I want to get better, or I want to see this, or I want to achieve this. And as you said, what is the achievement here? Right? Like, I don't care about seeing the next screen because it's not different, so that doesn't feel like an achievement. So I guess the achievement is to get the high score, but that doesn't like, it's so arbitrary. Like, what does one number mean instead of a number? And it doesn't. I guess it feels faster with the ghosts or whatever, but I don't. It doesn't feel the same way that in Tetris, where it feels like it's, like, really skill testing in that way. So surviving on a higher level, I don't know, surviving on a higher level didn't feel like much of a accomplishment. Like, why am I grinding this out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, here's where we really find out how bad you are at Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna find out how bad.
Well, I'm going to find out based on the answer you have to this question, which is,
Uh-huh.
were you aware there are cutscenes in Pac-Man?
I was aware there are cutscenes in Pac-Man.
Okay, so did you see one of them?
Yes.
Okay. So
Now,
there
I
there
did
are
not see two
Mhm.
of them.
Right. So there are 3 cutscenes in Pac-Man. The
Mhm.
first one plays after you beat 2 mazes. The second after an additional 3, and the third after another 4. After that, it just repeats. There's nothing new.
Mhm.
So one could argue that is the only real. That's the new thing you get to see. I will say I
Mhm.
kind of felt like you this week.
Hmm.
Where last week you were talking about how your goal was, one thing I want to try to do is to see one of those Nintendo characters in the B mode of Tetris, right?
Mhm.
And so because I'm sitting there playing Pac-Man, which, like, first of all, I'm playing and I'm like, man, I really played a lot of Pac-Man just now. Wow, I played a bunch of runs of Pac-Man. How long was that? Oh, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
Lord. How much more do I have to play this to fill out a podcast episode?
Oh, yeah. I had the same issue because, like, with Tetris, I was like, oh my God, I played forever. How long was this session? It was fucking 2 hours long. Okay, well, good. With this, I was like, oh my God, I played forever. How long was? Oh, it was 30 minutes. Uh-oh. Hope we'll have enough footage.
Right. I think between the two of us we'll be okay, but
I think we will, yeah.
and I also think I could literally loop one of these videos and nobody would notice. I mean, at a certain point, I did just start playing almost identically because I just had my methods. Okay, but anyway, so after doing this enough for a decent amount of time, I was like, what can I do here? That's why I started looking up strategies and things, because I'm like, there's got to be something I can strive for, so I'm not just endlessly looping and dying the same way every time I play this. And so I made it my mission to make it to the second cutscene, because I had never done that before. I've just never. Anytime I've played this in an arcade, I die and I go, okay. Like, I've never actually tried to get better at Pac-Man.
Well, that makes me feel better that I didn't make it to the second cutscene.
I do think it is hard. Now, I did.
Okay.
And so this is why I at least think I'm proud of myself if I managed to, I think, improve my overall Pac-Man game just based on doing a little bit of reading on it. I did manage to see that second cutscene 2 times on 2 different playthroughs.
Pretty good.
And then I would always die at the next level. But I feel like if I played enough and got used to the patterns and things, I think someday I could get to that third cutscene maybe. And that would really be like, I've beaten Pac-Man. That would be my goal, I think.
Yeah. I think that if I had read up on it and gotten the second cutscene for the first time ever, maybe that would have caused me to just throw hours into it, to just be like, I just want that third cutscene.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't have that drive. I didn't feel that same drive playing Pac-Man here.
For me, like I said, I had to invent a drive because otherwise I didn't know what I was doing. Because it is just so repetitive. You play one level, you've played the whole game. There's not anything you're missing.
Well, I said earlier that there's a big difference between a millennial 10-year-old and a Gen X 10-year-old. And the difference is that the Gen X 10-year-old, their brain doesn't function because it's been eaten away by all the lead in the atmosphere from the gasoline. And so they're like, a level. Oh man, the same level. High score, number go up. A millennial is more of a sophisticate, you know. We need things to be a little bit deeper. We need some thought behind it. We expect better.
Yeah, and we like doggo memes.
Right, that too.
And Invader Zim and Hot Topic.
Mm-hmm.
And pausing.
Pac-Man feels Hot Topic-y. There's probably a bunch of Pac-Man gear at Hot Topic.
I'm sure you can get a leather jacket with Pac-Man sucking off Invader Zim.
That feels like a Spencer's Gifts thing. That's too gross for Hot Topic. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. I don't see what's gross about it, unless you're homophobic or something. They're consenting adults. They can suck each other off if they want to. Anyway, here's the real answer that this was my, like, the next stage of discovery once I got past, okay, ghost patterns, safe spots. Oh, that's another thing that I would probably never have noticed if I didn't read about it. There's a little section above where the ghosts come out.
Mm-hmm.
There's two paths that go up from there.
Mm-hmm.
The ghosts can never go up there.
Really? Because those always felt so dangerous to me, and I was always like very careful about when I got them out. Oh man!
Now, unless they are in, like, if they're blue, that changes their patterns, I believe, and they can go in there. But normal behavior, if you're going down that, a ghost will never come up on the other side and get you. So there's
everything.
Yes, you can use that if you're smart enough and quick enough to your advantage, which is kind of cool. There's things like that are fun, but the real deal pro players who get the high scores on Pac-Man, the way that they play this game is they memorize patterns.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, I will say it was very obvious to me that if you wanted to be like pro level at this, what you need to do is memorize the right movement pattern, because it's the same level, and the AI in this is very simple. Right, because it's an arcade. Yeah, obviously you do the patterns. Yeah.
Yes, and there are a few different ones because they do vary by level as you go.
Okay.
But yes, essentially, if you have played enough Pac-Man, that's the way to be the best at this game, is to just, I go this way, I go that way, and then it just becomes an endurance test. And you're just doing the exact same movements 100 times until the game crashes. That's how you get the high score, the maximum points. Which, you can probably guess, I hate this. That's just so fucking boring, to the point where I question whether those people are actually even good at the game at all. Like, you didn't actually learn how to play. You just memorized a series of movements with your arm and hand, and you just carry them out repeatedly. That doesn't take skill. It just takes endurance and practice. I mean,
Mhm.
practice any, but you know what I mean. It's just pure memorization. That's very boring to me, and kind of makes me think less of the game, because essentially they didn't design it that wasn't their intention. They weren't like, oh, people will learn the patterns. They thought it keeps getting faster, no one will ever make it to the end of this game, until of course all the losers out there figured it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, so, I mean, that really is I think that's very linked to what makes it not feel rewarding where Tetris, like, does, or even something like Minesweeper, right? And the difference is that, like, at no point does it ever, like at no point does it just get out of that, like, okay, rote memorization, right? Like, I I obviously you're going to need to memorize patterns. And you know what? Playing high level in Tetris, a lot of it is just going to be memorizing patterns, right? But um you know, first of all, I don't know how much there's even an element of RNG to it, and how much you can just do the pattern so you don't even have to like react, like say like, okay, I've memorized 10 patterns, but I need to like recognize which pattern I'm on, and I need to do that instantaneously, and I need to do that, and I need to continuously be shifting that like every quarter second or something. But also, like, it doesn't go outside of the realm of possibility. Like at a certain point, Tetris is passing most humans' capacity to actually, it's like, okay, you memorize the pattern, but like you've got to recognize it. It's one thing to memorize it, it's another thing to recognize what pattern you're on, and it's going way too fast for you to do that. So, like, if you can do the same pattern but at a faster speed, you feel like you've gotten better at it, right? Or, or like with Minesweeper, it's like, okay, sure, I know how to solve a board. Okay, but can you solve a board in 90 seconds? 60? Right? 30? Kind of thing. Whereas in Pac-Man, it's just like, okay, you can solve the board. You can solve the board at the max speed. You can just do it. You just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like Pac-Man doesn't get Pac-Man's it doesn't have the like old school Tetris kill screen of like, and now you just can't move fast enough. You just can't do it. Like on Pac-Man, it's like, okay, you can just keep doing it. And so it doesn't feel fulfilling to do better.
To my understanding, there is, as long as you maintain the pattern correctly, there's no RNG whatsoever.
Okay.
The only test is your own focus, because if you do mess up, then the pattern might not work correctly and you have to react. But if you
Yeah.
are locked in and you do it exactly correct every time, you never have to think about a thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is what makes RNG so good, right? Is that you know,
Random number generators, for those at home who don't know,
right.
right?
But like, yeah, this because now you can say when you have RNG, now instead of memorizing one big pattern, you have to quickly recognize which pattern you're on, and you don't know it. You have your reaction time, your read time matters, and like there's like you can roll the dice on it. You can play safe or dangerously. You can say like, okay, so if I do this pattern and this pattern are both good. This one is high risk, high reward. This one is safer but lower reward. And it doesn't sound like there is any of that in Pac-Man. You just do the thing. You don't get to make decisions. You don't have to have a skill ceiling. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, I don't fully blame the players for figuring this out. I do more blame the
Hmm.
game, because even I found myself I didn't try to memorize the patterns that I saw online, but after playing enough, I figured out, oh, if I do this exact movement at the beginning of the first and second levels, that will get me here, that will get me there, then I go up
Hmm.
there. Like, there was no reason for me to deviate, especially once I realized, because if you could get multiple one-ups, then I'm thinking, oh, let me try to get as many points as I can earlier so that I can have more lives to cushion myself later when the game gets harder. But
Hmm.
because inevitably, if I just play it safe and I have a movement pattern that works for me, I'm gonna get that one up by like level 3 probably. And then it just doesn't matter anymore. So there's just no reason to even think about it. So it just kind of is, if you play enough of it, I think you're gonna fall into that mindset.
Hmm.
It's the same issue I have with chess. where when people just memorize opening moves. I know there's more complexities to chess, but that kind of thing to me in games is always just the antithesis of fun.
I 100% get where you're coming from on chess because chess is pretty bad about that. But like, you know, chess does
There's
not
another
have this
human being.
phenomenon where you don't make decisions, right? Like you can
Yeah.
decide I want to play safe. I want to play dangerous. I want to attack. I want to defend. I want to play these like, tactics things. I want to make nice positions that are strong. And it sounds like with this there's no decision to be made. You just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty much the case. But, the silver lining is, oh, you don't have to do that.
Mhm.
Like if you
That's true.
don't want to go for a high score and you don't think patterns are fun, then just play it, just go crazy. And that's
Mhm.
for me more entertaining, even though I couldn't help but fall into patterns because I did want to
Yeah.
progress. Like I did
Yeah, I
want
mean
to.
that's kind of the issue is that I feel like, for me if I were good enough to do those patterns, it would, you can say you don't have to do that, but doesn't knowing that kind of ruin it? Cuz you're just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm going to play for fun where I don't play optimally." And so then it's just like, "Yeah, but I know what I was supposed to do and I just kind of didn't do it because I thought that somehow that would be more fun." I don't know. Like it would ruin it to know
Yeah.
to be like I didn't do that because I had to or because I was bad. I did it because I just felt like playing bad for no reason. Like that doesn't feel good. That
this
sucks.
is this is so many modern video games when someone says like this item sucks or whatever. This thing makes the game too easy, and there's always the responses are always, well, just don't use it.
Mm.
Easy enough.
Yeah,
But
but like there's a difference between saying I'm going to throw that item away and just being like this feels almost more like being like the fact that you can, move your character left and right makes the game easy. Well, just don't do that. Just go forward and backward then.
right.
But I know I can just do that. Right? It's not like I just didn't pick up that weapon and now I can't use it. Like what do you mean? Just do the pattern.
It's not like I could just ignore that fire flower.
Well, I could do that.
Now, I will say I do think there actually is some enjoyment in even if it's memorizing patterns, there's
Mhm.
some satisfaction in discovering what pattern works for you on your own.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
I
that I'll agree with. Yeah.
yeah, like I was satisfied and found it kind of rewarding being like, "Oh, I last longer if I go here and here and here. This is cool." As opposed to I know though that online there is just the pattern that is the best.
Mhm.
And you should just do that.
Yeah, the people who figure that pattern out probably think this is the greatest game of all time, right?
For
Like
sure.
cuz that's a huge achievement, honestly.
You also got to think back to the era of this game because
Mhm.
the whole thing of arcade games was how much can you get for your quarter.
Right.
So that, it wasn't just, oh, this game's fun. It was, I would like to keep playing. And if I want to keep playing without paying money, I have to get better at it. So I'm going to get better at it, whatever means necessary.
See,
you know?
this is capitalism in action, right? It's all like so because if there was no money attached to it, you'd be like this game's boring. But because there's money, you're like, okay, I've got to get my money's worth. So I'm going to get the high score and play as long as possible. Because I like it? No, because otherwise I will have wasted my money.
Now, I think in Pac-Man that is actually much less egregious than some other games. I
That's probably
still
true.
find it pretty fun to play. When we get to certain, I don't know when we will, but if and when we get to certain arcade beat 'em ups, like having played stuff like the Simpsons arcade game, but without quarters, so you just have infinite continues, you realize that there's no game there at all. Like when you
Mhm.
remove that tension, it's just mindless. Press these buttons and it doesn't matter. But Pac-Man, I do think even with infinite continues. Well, there's not continues in this game, so maybe that's what it is. You can't put a quarter in
Mhm.
to get an extra life. You do have to start over every time.
Right. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because the stage is the fucking same every time. So
Sure, if you know it, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
right, it might as well be. It's just because if it's level 6, whatever. Another thing too is I feel like, we're saying the ghosts, they get faster and stuff, and their invulnerability period is shorter, or their vulnerability period is shorter. I think it happens too quickly, where I feel like by the time you get to like level 3 or 4, it might as well be impossible for me to eat a ghost. Or it's so fast that I can't really predict how long it's going to last, and I don't think it's worth me eating it. And the amount of time after you eat it that they spend in the bullpen before returning is not worth it. You don't get enough of a break period where it's like, oh, I've eaten Blinky. I don't have to worry about Blinky for a while. Now he's back in like 2 seconds. You might as well just not eat him. So things like that, I don't know. It just kind of makes me feel eh.
Yeah, I mean, I get you on that. That there were times where I got killed by a ghost while the other ghosts were invulnerable, or vulnerable rather. Yeah, I gotta say, if I had been, I was thinking about this. If I had to put in a coin every time I restarted this game, like, I'm just like, if I had grown up at this time, I never would have been good at video games, because, like, how could I afford to get good at video games? Like, do you realize how much money I would have had to spend to even put in this much effort?
Well, a quarter went a lot farther back in those days, I don't know what
Feels
I'm
like it
trying
went. How much did you put in? Was it actually a quarter per play of this? Because that's crazy.
I assume. I don't actually know, but
Christ.
yeah, I think that was the standard.
Yeah,
It's
that's
25 cents.
insane. That's an insane amount of money. Holy
I wish
shit.
we should have kept track of how many restarts. We should have had a segment of how much money you would have spent.
Maybe I'll go back and count.
What was your high score? Do you know?
So my high score, and this actually kind of was my session thing. Like, I played to beat my old high score effectively,
Okay.
and if I did it really early, then I played to beat that. So and that's when I would quit. So my high score overall was actually just over 20,000. So that was at the point where I did realize, oh shit, I don't get a second Pac-Man here. Oops.
Yeah.
But that is how far I got.
My high score, which I don't think was a run. I think when I was getting farther, I was being safer. And so my score was lower, even though I was progressing to more levels. My high score when I was spending more time getting fruit and ghosts was 27,430.
That's pretty good.
Felt pretty good about it. Which again, that whole time I was like, maybe the next life is at 25,000? I was like, why aren't I getting it? That's what I realized. Oh, it's pointless. This sucks.
Yeah, as far as levels, I would say that like 90 to 95% of the time I made it to level 2. Did not always make it to Maze 2. Even by the end. Only occasionally made it past Maze number 2, and one time I made it to Maze 4. I was very proud of myself.
Yeah, I think I will almost every time get to Maze 3, but a lot of times I get there with no lives left, so it's just like I just whatever. But
it was so weird. Like, I think one time I made it to Maze 3 with all of my lives left, and then I died like 3 or 4 times in a row without ever even getting one of the power pellets. Or like sometimes I would die twice on level 1 and then just not die. Like, I don't know. Like, it would go, if it went wrong for me, sometimes it went just like really wrong. Where I just screwed everything up.
Yeah, that sounds right. We do have to talk about those cutscenes, because that's another thing. Video games didn't have cutscenes,
right?
As simplistic as these are. Again, it goes right alongside with the idea of having a character with a name and a face. They're again 5 years before Super Mario Brothers. You had what could be considered a storyline. Not well.
Could you?
All right. No.
Is it? I mean, I guess I didn't look at what these are. Maybe they do make a storyline.
No, they don't. But it was, you got to see a little animation. They pushed the needle a little bit on moving games closer to more cinematic types of content. Now, the first one, which I quite enjoy, is Pac-Man's being chased by a ghost, and then he comes back, and now he's a big Pac-Man, and he gets the ghost.
Yes.
A lot of fun. The other two I find very troubling. So
Okay.
the second one is once again Pac-Man's being chased by Blinky. And there's like this white line on the screen that he runs over, and I don't really know what it's supposed to be because it's like 3 pixels. But when Blinky runs over it, part of the back of his body gets caught on it and rips off.
Like his ghost sheet.
Yeah, I believe the idea is that apparently in the canon of the arcade game, it's like they're not actually ghosts. It's something under some kind of a costume or something.
They're the little Peanuts kids in the white sheet.
But what it looks like, because to me, and in later iterations where they stop doing that shit, they're just ghosts. That's just their body. So it just looks like their body's being ripped off, and underneath you see a pale skin-colored piece of flesh. I think it's supposed to be a leg and a foot or something. So it's I find it very upsetting. It's like part of his body's being ripped off, and then there's like exposed skin and muscle underneath.
So
I don't like it.
I mean, if you imagine this as like a little kid in a ghost costume, then it's like, oh no, he fell and tripped and ripped his costume. Haha, isn't that kind of cute? But if you interpret these guys as like ectoplasmic blobs, right? Like Slimer or something, then it's like he got caught on something and it ripped off part of his ghost form and his old corpse poked through. And now we've got like a bloated, rotting foot sticking out. Right? What is a ghost skeleton if not the actual corpse,
Wow. That's got to be a new sentence. Our first t-shirt design. The third cutscene is essentially the same thing, except you see Blinky and now he has patched himself back together. There's a little sewn mark where he got ripped up. Mm-hmm. And then he's chasing Pac-Man and he comes back from the left, but now it got ripped up again. It's behind him on the ground or something. It's like whatever. It's not even a cool thing to see if you manage to get there, other than just the feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, it's not much of a story.
No, it's not really a story necessarily.
All right, so here's the thing. We started calling Blinky he here, but earlier on we were like, why are we calling them this? So I think, what is that show? It's like New Adventures of Pac-Man or something. That show must canonically give them genders, right?
Yeah. I'm sure they do have genders by now. Yeah. Do you want me to find out?
I mean, I just thought maybe I would look, but I don't know.
The Pac-Man wiki lists them all as male except for Pinky. So yes, Pinky is canonically a girl. I mean, of course,
because she's the pink one.
Yeah, like what else could it be? So there you go.
I mean, if you don't think of these as their bodies, right? If you think of these as like I'm wearing this ghost thing, right? Because it can rip. Then you could say, well, Pinky is the one who's feminine presenting, so Pinky's a girl, right? You know what I mean? It's not that pink makes you inherently a girl, but like the fact that she's gone out of her way to present herself as a girl. You see what I'm saying?
Not
this is
really.
A woke podcast.
Oh yeah, we're woke. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about feminist issues today.
Right, yeah. I think that's going to be a normal thing with us.
People know we're feminists. Remember our passionate, rant about how we think Princess Toadstool deserved more of a plot line in Mario?
Right. How I don't like that they lightened up her skin tone when they turned her to Princess Peach. I think that's kind of racist.
Well, Princess Daisy now is canonically the one who sometimes has a darker skin tone.
Right, yeah.
Because she's from the desert. And then in Tetris, how it's about the patriarchy and the how when you insert long pieces into a space, it destroys everything. What?
You don't need to be vulgar.
What? I'm a feminist.
It's just a little gross. I don't like thinking of the Tetris pieces in that way. They're pure.
What do you think about the sound effects and music in this game?
Um, it's odd because in isolation, they're very iconic and I like have an attachment to them. The actual experience of playing it is very annoying. Like the fact that Pac-Man's going waka 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 and the background music's going like wee 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 wee. It's like, yeah, that's fun when I do it for 2 seconds, you know?
Mhm.
I'm listening to it for 30 minutes straight. I don't know that I like it.
Yeah, I don't mind it while I'm playing, really. But if I ever stop and like stop dissociating and as I'm getting into it, yeah, then you
Mhm.
do realize, yeah, it just sounds like sirens. It's like, what the fuck is this? Which I guess maybe the idea was in a noisy arcade, it would stand out and people would go, "What the hell is that?" and come
Mhm.
over.
Mhm. Pew! Wop wop.
I don't know who first characterized it as waka waka. I don't
Mhm.
know where that comes from. I mean, obviously that's kind of what it sounds like, but it's not written that way on the machine or anything.
Mhm.
Where did that come from? I don't know. I could have looked it up. I didn't. Waka, and also, how come Fozzie Bear says that too? Pac-Man. Oh no, Fozzie Bear was pre-Pac-Man, so Pac-Man stole it.
Mm. Yeah, that there you solved it.
Waka waka. That's my Fozzie Bear.
Pretty good Fozzie Bear.
Hey Kermit. That's Fozzie Bear. Hey ho Fozzie. That's Kermit. What about moi? That's Gonzo.
When I was a little kid, I had a hamster named Fozzie.
And did you
Then
try
I
to
had
eat
a
it?
second hamster and I named it Fozzie too.
Well,
I don't remember Fozzie at all, but I do remember Fozzie too.
literally like Snowball 2 from The Simpsons. Just had Fozzie 2. The sequel.
Hamsters don't live very long.
Yeah, don't I know it, man. Don't I know it. So, Pac-Man. I think we should give it our final IGN ratings.
Sure, final IGN ratings. This is a tough one for me because this is not in the same class with Mario and
Tetris.
Tetris for sure. Um, like I I don't enjoy the experience of playing Pac-Man in the same way as I enjoyed those. I can't imagine trying to get good at Pac-Man. I can't imagine like I did not at any point sit down for even an hour to just play Pac-Man straight. Pac-Man, it's like something right that you should be playing, for 5 minutes as you said and then you're done. Uh I can't be paying 25 cents in 1980s money for that. I can't be standing in front of an arcade game every day for that. Um, it doesn't entice me. It doesn't make me want to progress. It doesn't make me care about getting good at it. I do like Pac-Man as a character, as a design. Actually, on the Pac-Man wiki, there's a funny image of the guy like drawing out a design for Pac-Man, and it's like sketched with the pixels. Like he drew it on a grid, which is very silly to me that it's not just a circle. But yeah, like I like Pac-Man. I do really like the ghosts. I like their names. I like that was in the
Mhm.
original. Those aren't like they
Yeah.
didn't make them up later.
Yeah.
This isn't, Mario, right? Like they were always that. Some of the
Mhm.
sounds are fun. I wonder, should I give it credit for introducing cutscenes and introducing the concept of what if characters were cute?
What if they
Do I want to
existed?
get Yeah,
What if
what
there
if there
was
were
a character?
characters? What if games were cute? Should I give it credit for that? I don't know that I want to give it credit for that, but
I mean, if
because
they
I
didn't do it, somebody else would have, right?
right, yeah, exactly. Somebody was going to hit on this idea. Women do love cakes. Like that's just an obvious idea. Because I don't really like playing Pac-Man. What if I
Wow.
rate
Hot take.
Pac? I don't like it. It's
Wow.
got to be low. It's got to be low. What if I rate it like let's rate it like a 4.5. That might be giving it too much credit for some of the cute stuff, but
Now,
I don't like playing it.
we're going to need to establish right now,
Mhm.
because I'm just going to say it. I think for our IGN ratings, I am using personally the IGN scale. So I
Mm.
think to me, like a 6 or lower is pretty much a bad game, and like a 7 is average or like mediocre.
Mhm.
I think that I'm generally trending more towards that line of thought. So for you, are you saying like a 5 is average? Are you trying to be more even about it, or do you really think it's terrible?
I don't think it's terrible. Probably like I don't think I would say 7 is average. 7 is good. Like 7 is good, right? That's not an
Right.
average game for sure. I don't know that I would say 5 is dead average, but like I don't
Well,
know,
I
man.
mean,
Like in terms of like my enjoyment playing this game, it pretty much all of its points are coming from uh Pac-Man and the ghosts existing. You know what I mean? Like the the experience of playing the game is giving this like no points, and that's got to be worth a huge chunk of the game. Like I don't really like it that much as a game.
so yeah, okay. So we may
I
be
feel like
using, yeah.
yeah, well, I was gonna say I feel like I'm also figuring this scale out. Like I'm
Hmm.
kind of throwing these numbers out based on vibes, and then later
Yeah.
games. Like the problem is that I haven't had a game that I want to rate low yet. I like Mario, I like Tetris. When we get another game, I'll be able to say like, well, okay, it's halfway between Pac-Man and Mario, so that's what that number means, right?
Yeah. I think I like that our scales are different from each other's and possibly will change over time. I think that's good.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
I
that
don't want
that's very
people
good.
to be able to pigeonhole us.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I'm using round numbers like 4.5. That's not as round as it could be, but
I do wonder. I can't remember what you rated the Yerkpool Flash game.
I'm definitely not using that rating scale anymore. I don't know what it
Okay.
was, but
We did rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. I think you might have given it like a 3.5 or something like
I
that.
left it up in the air whether or not it was going to be out of 10.
It was okay. Sure. All right, harsh. Wow, real. That's wow, shocking. We're gonna get so many angry comments from all the
Mhm.
gamers. They're gonna fucking seethe when they hear that.
I guess I just think Gen Xers and their dumbass arcade games, they have bad taste, they're lead-brained, and they're stupid. And, I'm glad they liked the things they liked because it led into something good, but they were wrong to like them.
I can't wait till we play Space Invaders
I'll probably like that better.
soon. I think. Okay, I will give it my rating now. I definitely like Pac-Man more than you do. I do think there are certainly aspects that have not aged super well and that I find frustrating. And really, the biggest knock against this game is that in 1981, they released Ms. Pac Man. And Ms. Pac Man is just unequivocally this same game, but improved in every single level. To the point where I really think there's no reason to play Pac-Man truthfully, other than for its historical relevance, in a world where Ms. Pac-Man exists.
Why did my
I don't
stupid dumbass dentist have Pac-Man and not Ms. Pac-Man? What's wrong
just
with him?
just to give
Sexist.
you just one uh difference between them, the mazes in Ms. Pac-Man are different.
Holy, that would have changed. That literally would have changed everything. That would have fundamentally changed the way in which I perceived and played the game.
Right.
That could have single-handedly made it fun.
Right. This game, it is very repetitive. And yet, when I sit down and play it, I am engaged. I do get the feelings of tension. I panic. I have fun. I'm locked in. I'm like, oh, go here, go here. Ah, you have those great moments when you get cornered or you just barely escape, or you're like, oh my God, I should have, it was right there. And I took that last turn around the corner and escaped. I can't believe it. We hit those highs. It's a lot of fun. Of course, those highs depend on you playing suboptimally. But if you're doing so, in normal casual play, they exist. And I do give the game credit for being incredibly innovative at the time it was released, for broadening the game market, and for truly introducing, I don't think my favorite games and mascots would exist if Pac-Man didn't hit the scene. I'm also, and I have nostalgia for it, and I still will, if I'm at an arcade or whatever, a barcade or any kind of one of those things where there's arcade machines that exist now, I'll still see a Pac-Man machine and go, I'm going to give this a few goes. And after playing this week, I kind of gained a better appreciation and understanding for it, and I'm kind of excited now. Next time I am at there's a local arcade here where I just had a ton of arcade games. I'm excited to go there and be like, you know what? I sort of know what I'm doing now. Maybe I can get to that second cutscene as opposed to just, I don't know, I fuck around for a bit and then leave because I'm bored. So I enjoyed my time with it. However, I am not gonna give it a 10. My first non-10. For me, I feel like it's harsh. For Pac-Man, it's harsh, but I think I'm gonna go. Man, I don't know if I want to go sub 8 or not, because it is Pac-Man. But I think because Ms. Pac-Man's so much better, it came out the next year. I think I'm gonna go 7.7.
Okay.
For Pac-Man.
Okay. 7.7. All right. Lucky sevens.
And I don't know, maybe that's even a little high, but I of course, as always, I am weighing the influence and importance of the game to some extent.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, listen, man, I'm world's number one Pac-Man hater. Pac-Man does not excite me to play. You know what? I banged my head against Tetris and against Mario forever, despite not being able to play it at all. Right? And if I can't even do that for more than 30 minutes on Pac-Man without just quitting. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Fuck Pac-Man. I would fuck Pac-Man.
Holy shit.
I would fuck him.
God
damn.
Fuck him. Really, man. This is crazy right now. It is funny that we're doing the Pac-Man episode this week. Of course, this will, if you're listening to this in the future, it won't be true anymore. But the week of the recording here, they just released a game called Shadow Labyrinth, which is a Metroidvania action side-scroller, dark, grim version of Pac-Man.
I'm not tuned out when you were saying all those words.
Oh my God.
Something about a dark Pac-Man.
Yes, it's a new game that is a dark, sort of light horror version of Pac-Man where he's like creepy and wants to eat you and stuff.
Creepypasta Pac-Man.
So, the Pac-Man persists. I think he's been responsible for a lot of fun games. I just recently there's a Pac-Man collection on Switch and other platforms that has a bunch of various Pac-Man spin-offs and arcade games. It's still fun for me to, load it up and fuck around for a bit. Unfortunately, Ms. Pac-Man, there's a whole rights issue. Namco doesn't have the rights to Ms. Pac-Man. There's some weird
rights issue
thing tied up. So, the best version of it is usually not available in these compilations, which sucks. But what are you going to do?
That's so weird that Ms. Pac-Man has different rights than Pac-Man.
I off the top of my head, I don't remember the exact what happened. People can look it up, or we'll talk about it. You know what? I think we'll do Ms. Pac-Man at some point. So we'll talk about it then. Yeah, why not?
Pac-Man persists, though. That's a good tagline.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I am personally a big fan. This is true. I don't remember how old I was, but I do own on a physical compact disc the Pac-Man Fever album. I don't know if you're aware of this, of what this is.
I am not aware of this.
So in the 80s, maybe in 80 or 81, there's a group called Buckner and Garcia, who released an album of songs. The big hit, it was like a novelty hit, in the vein of a Camp Granada type of a song.
Okay.
Probably played on Dr. Demento. called Pac-Man Fever. Pac-Man Fever, driving me crazy, driving me crazy. Went like that.
Okay, yeah, I hear it.
Also on this album, it featured songs like Ode to a Centipede and Do the Donkey Kong, which is pretty good.
Yeah, do the Donkey Kong. It's kind of got me fired up.
Come on, do the Donkey Kong. And the songs were just,
hell yes.
The lyrics were just basically describing what you do, in the games.
That better be in the Donkey Kong movie. Holy shit.
But this is a little window into, I'm not sure when or how I learned about this, but as a kid, at some point I wanted this CD and listened to it and have it.
Kind of want it now.
Yeah. Pac-Man Fever, the song, was also featured in Wreck-It Ralph, it looks like.
I never saw Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, if we get a Patreon up and running, that's on the list.
Too many video games. I don't really like this.
I've never heard this one. They have another release I've never listened to, another album, and one of the songs on it is called E.T. I Love You.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
We might need to do songs. We need to do a whole Buckner and Garcia episode for
Oh
Patreon.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. I'm getting really excited about these songs.
Also, I'm sorry, he did not. Pac-Man Fever's not in Wreck-It Ralph. Buckner did a song for a different song for Wreck-It Ralph. That's pretty cool. Anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Pac-Man's fun. I like that song. Pac-Man, it was a big hit. It really did well. People loved it.
Like,
what else do you need to know? Come on. You can't say fuck man though. They cut you off on that one.
Nope, can't do that one.
In 1982, Pac-Man had sold 400,000 units, receiving, I'm reading from Wikipedia, of course, an estimated total of between 7 billion coins and $6 billion.
Jesus.
In 2 years.
Things moved fast. Yeah, I was actually thinking this. Things moved fucking fast back then, too, because, wasn't Mario 85?
Yep, 5 years in between these.
5 years to get to Mario from what you're saying is the first character. That's crazy.
I mean, the speed, the rate at which video games advanced is truly insane. Especially in those first 20 years, when you go from Pong to Final Fantasy or whatever. I mean, it's insane what happened in that period.
That's 2005 to 2010 for smartphones or something. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Of course, they made home versions as well, which were big, but I don't think any of them were as good because they all had to kind of make compromises to work. We got a couple emails. Want to read them?
No, but you can.
Sure. All right. Our first email this week in our email section, which of course we're calling Reading the Manual.
Is that what we're calling it?
I might try something different every week and just see what sticks.
Okay.
Feel free if you come up with something. Maybe a fan can submit a name. This one comes from Sean.
Hi, Sean. I don't think we know Sean.
Well, we do.
Oh, okay.
Sean says, hey, sorry, this is the new podcast I've been waiting for. Long-time listener, second time emailing, your good local stalker friend, Sean. Lurking in the shadows, always there, always listening. LOL. Got a good laugh with the label, so thought I'd lean into it, at least for this email. This is someone who wrote to us for our Yerky Boys podcast. I can't remember if we shouted them out or not in our final episode, and now I feel bad if we just forgot about this person.
I swear we did. Maybe I remembered this person writing in and you didn't. I don't remember anymore. That was too long ago. That was a month ago.
What's worse, if we forgot to shout Sean out, or if we did shout them out and I already forgot about it? That's how unmemorable Sean is to me. Anyway, Sean writes, "Welcome back." Thanks, Sean. Good to be back. "I have been a gamer since I was 10, with 30 years now under my belt. I've played all sorts of games, but these days do lean more to a certain genre. NES was my first dive into video games, and Mario was a good starting point. Mario 3 will always have a special place in my heart. For a time, it got me obsessed with platformers. I'm sure you'll talk about some of my favorites, like Mega Man and Castlevania. If I had to give Mario a rating, I'll stick to Mario 3. As a kid, easy 10 out of 10 with the hours I put into it. I beat it before I ever learned there were warp points. Since then, never bothered to beat every stage again. Today, since it's not my number one anymore, I'm going to give it a 7. Harsh. Once again, this was a great start to a journey I am stoked for. This podcast gets my full attention, so no more listening during work. Excited for Tetris. This was pre-Tetris, because any version of Tetris will always score a 10 out of 10 for me. Look forward to hearing what other games you have on your list. I'm sure RPGs and JRPGs will be very few. Hard to talk about games that need at least 30 plus hours to get through at times. Still, I would recommend some like Legend of Dragoon for the most unique battle system I've ever seen, or any Final Fantasy. I'd recommend FF6, mainly because when you talked about an Animorph game, you said how annoying combos are, and they wouldn't be in any RPG. FF6 was the first thing I thought of when you mentioned combos. I'll cut this off here. Thanks for a past amazing podcast, and can't wait to see how this new one grows and evolves. Loved the length, as always. Longer the better. LOL.
That's what I say.
And pleased to see parodies are back. But I would wager it would be very difficult to add for every episode. They should be a random treat from time to time. I know I slacked being a patron with the last podcast, but now that you're talking about something I'm still passionate about, I will happily join a Patreon if enough wish for it.
Wow. That's how you be our number one fan.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's some of our listeners could learn a thing or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just not going to name names.
Mm-hmm.
There's a patron or two who might be down in maybe the 4th slot.
Well, yeah, I get that. It's harsh, but fair.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the idea of this person who, I guess, sounds like Sean listened to our entire Animorphs podcast. Passionate enough about Animorphs to listen to 200 hours of us talking about it, but not enough to spend $5 to listen to that Patreon. I just don't. Right. It's hard for me to reconcile that where that middle ground is. It's strange that kind of person exists.
I get it. I wouldn't give us any money.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But then I just wouldn't listen at all. I feel like I'm either obsessed with it or I'm like, nah.
That's because you're not a leech. You don't like to latch on and suck all the free content you can off of and then refuse to give anything back. Unlike me.
Right. Sean, we will definitely be getting to Mega Man and Castlevania. Castlevania is on the slate this season. I won't give away the whole schedule all at once, but if people mention names, I'll drop hints.
Yes, I think we're going to get to Castlevania and Mega Man and probably Mario 3 a lot faster than most of the new recs that Gwen gave us, just because those are older.
Yes, of course. Mario 3 is next season. Mega Man might be next season too. I'm not sure. Maybe that one should move up. I'll take a look. And a Final Fantasy is also coming quite soon. I think we're going to play through all the Final Fantasies, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we're going to figure that out. We are aware of the potential issue with, the dozens of hours to just finish. And we don't have a solution to that yet, but we'll figure something out.
I think the solution is just not expecting us to finish it. You know, we just have to be honest about our limitations.
I mean, but is there a world in which the solution is to do just like a 2 or 3 week, like 3-parter or something? I don't know. Maybe,
this one would require more discipline, but if we knew a longer game was coming up, we could start playing it. But that only works now when most games aren't long. When every game is
Right.
long, then what do we do? I think
Someday
you
we'll
just
come
have
up.
to settle.
We'll be forced to figure this out at some point, but
Listeners, you can let us know if you have any input on that one. Thanks, Sean. There's one other email here. Comes from Spam Viking.
I remember Spam Viking.
All our old friends are coming out of the woodwork. Spam Viking writes, "Hello, Bad with Gamers." I like that's not bad. It's not bad. I'm happy to continue our parasocial relationship into another podcast adventure. Really enjoying the discussions so far. I had NES growing up, but we skipped the 16-bit era and went right to PSX. PSX, remember PSX?
I do.
And I've been in the
hearing it everywhere
Sony
now.
I've been in the Sony ecosystem ever since, so I'm excited to hear about some of these N64 and SNES titles that I'm not familiar with. For a recommendation, how about Intelligent Cube on PSX? It's a puzzle game. I can't speak to its importance, but I like it. Thanks again, Spam Viking. I don't think Intelligent Cube was on our list. I have heard of it. I'm familiar with it. I don't think I've ever played it, but I think we can add that somewhere. And you will have no shortage of SNES and then N64 titles coming up. That's the juicy stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's what John's into, so
that's what
I'm
everyone's
gonna
into. Well, N64 is, hit or miss, but Super Nintendo is pretty widely regarded as arguably the greatest system ever released. I mean, especially when you're looking at the 90s, nearly every major game is on there. It's just such a powerhouse.
Yeah, Nintendo also just does have a glut of like characters that are popular culturally, right? Like you don't have to play video games to like Donkey Kong, right? Or Mario, right? You don't have to know shit about shit to like those things. I feel like Nintendo probably has more than like every other platform put together in terms of just like, do you care about this character if you've never played a game? So
for sure,
it'll be fun.
You also have to remember, I mean, Sega was around in the early 90s, but it wasn't really until the mid 90s that Nintendo had real competition. Virtually every video game was on NES or Super NES. It's just where games went.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like oh, you're only. It's like that's where the biggest games were. Don't worry, we're gonna cover Genesis 2, all you Sega freaks. What do you think about? We need a name for our fan base. I was thinking, what if we call them baddies?
That's pretty good. I also heard a suggestion that we could call ourselves the Bad Boys.
The Bad Boys of podcasting. Yeah, so we're the bad boys, and they're the baddies. I do
like our baddies, though.
Yeah, well, Spam Viking said bad with gamers. Like we're the bad with gamers.
Right, bad with is in quotes or whatever.
Right, it's not, but it could be. Depending on how you do it. Anyway, we appreciate those emails. You can send your thoughts in to badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. We also, by the way, following up, Gwen also sent a more detailed spreadsheet version of her list of games. So, we're fine with that. We can't make any promises. Yeah, like I don't know when we're going to get to them, but we're considering it all. We'll look at it. We want to hear from you what you think about the games we've discussed, what future games you want, ideas for stuff like that. And we have at least one taker right now for Patreon. We have a few people signed up to our free Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames, where you're just going to get updates about the new episodes and other content we push out, including our Mario Brothers commentary video, which Sean commented on, saying how much he liked it and he'd like to see more of that kind of thing, which I think we'll do probably soon.
Okay.
Probably not for Pac-Man, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you could get equally angry with my Pac-Man, but then like I wouldn't even get like defensive and yell at you. I would just be like, yeah, I suck. I messed that. That was a mistake. And it would be depressing.
I just don't think there's much that I will see there that I haven't already heard you say.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Mario was sort of a revelation. Like, because there's things that you wouldn't like think to say because
Right.
you don't understand the way I would play it.
Mhm.
There's only so many ways you can play Pac-Man. Even if you're playing it shitty, it's like, yeah, I know how that goes.
Mhm.
But hey, you can always surprise me. And also another thing to make Sean happy, I did not do a parody song this week.
For shame. For Pac-Man of all characters, and you didn't even do a parody song?
Well, I'm going to tell you, number one, this was honestly just a very busy week for me, and I truly did not have time to do it.
I love how you're justifying yourself.
It is true. That's number one. Number two, because look, I thought about it. I thought initially, I went and looked at songs, and I was thinking of what I could do. But number one, I just truly didn't have time this week. Number two, here's the thing. We mentioned it already. Pac-Man Fever exists. And not only does that exist, it's not on an official album. It wasn't officially released, but you can find it out there. Weird Al Yankovic did a parody of the Beatles' Taxman called Pac-Man. And between Pac-Man Fever and Weird Al's Pac-Man, I just feel like there's nothing for me to add to that space. I think it's been done. I don't know that there's anywhere for me to go with it.
You're not excited because you're just like, I'm either going to copy them or I'm going to do a shit job. Like, I can't do what they did.
Can I? You want to hear the concept I came up with and abandoned?
Yeah, I do.
Because it's the only angle I came up with was what if it's just really stupid.
It's my favorite angle.
I'm embarrassed to even say it out loud. I was gonna do a parody of Queen's Crazy Little Thing Called Love, but it was gonna be Crazy Little Thing Called Ghosts.
That's not that. Well, maybe it could be good.
No, I just thought it was funny.
Feel like it's not different enough.
I just thought it was funny that it doesn't really rhyme, and it's stupid, but it's not good.
Thing Called Ghosts.
Yeah.
I just don't like the phrasing
it's bad.
of Thing Called Ghosts.
Crazy Little Thing Called Ghosts. Listen, I didn't do it.
I see why you didn't do it.
Yeah. I didn't do it. All right. So that's it. Anything else you need to say before we leave?
Probably not.
As always, you can find us on YouTube at Bad With Games, at Worse With Games, or you can listen to the audio version wherever you get podcasts. And again, our Patreon, etc., Bluesky, all that stuff's in the show notes if you want to find it. Next week, I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but now I want to double check because I want to make sure I don't get it wrong. Yes, next week, real big one. We're really changing gears here. We're going to be playing The Legend of Zelda, the original NES Zelda from 1986. This is going to be a whole adventure bigger than anything we've played so far. So that's going to be exciting.
Just in time for the movie casting announcement.
We're
topical.
Yep. That's right. Sure, we'll get all into that next week. Thanks for listening or watching. Right. As we always say, us gamers getting out of here.
Won't, come on. I was going to do it with you this time.
Sorry. You fucked up. Now you don't know what's going to happen.